Greetings, YouTube. The other day I saw a posting on a message board, a gaming message board, and it was titled "Killing Batman." Now, the body of the text was about a analog to Batman in someone's supers campaign, and how could you justify killing him? How would you get an in-game explanation how you kill someone like Batman? I had nothing to contribute. I didn't really care a whole lot about it. But the title of the posting, "Killing Batman," got in my head, and I started thinking about it. These things happen. Um, as my wife recently commented to me, "You're always thinking about something," and I am. Uh, and Batman essentially has two powers. The first power, he's a billionaire. Okay, that's a superpower. Ask the Koch brothers; they'll tell you how much power it is. And I have always argued, and I will continue to argue, that if Bruce Wayne wanted to change the world for the better, he should hang up the cowl and start spending money. He could buy Congress like that. He could have a $15 an hour minimum wage. He could push through single payer healthcare system. He could make sure that we had paid leave for maternity, men and women. He should make sure that we had all kinds of progressive programs pushed through because he could just buy Congress. And when he's done making all the progressive programs that we need as a society to bring us into the 21st century as a developed nation, he can then use his money to change the system so you can't bribe them anymore. He could make some significant changes, really change the world, the whole world, for a fraction of his wealth, for maybe $2-3 billion tops. And he's worth way more than that. But instead, he punches sociopathic clowns. Yeah. But the second superpower that Batman has is he's Batman. What do I mean by that? I mean that he has the force, the godlike power of the narrative. The writers of Batman comics have decided that Batman is invincible, that he knows everything, he can outthink anybody, he has a plan for everything. They don't touch on the fact that, yes, he has a plan for everything, for every plan he implements, there's 1,000 plans that never get used because Batman is out of his frigging mind. He is deeply psychologically wounded. He has so many psychological problems that you could fill a dozen textbooks with Batman's issues. 24 therapists could spend the rest of their careers trying to help him at this point as an adult to get him on the straight and narrow. But because he has that power, that godlike power of the narrative, Batman can't be killed. Not permanently. Someone will always rise. Now, some of the best Batman stories I've read, and I'll admit I haven't read them all, so that's a caveat, have been some of the Elseworld stuff, because they go outside the normal storylines. So instead of going into new territory, that narrative power is at a much lower level. And some of them, I still like Killing Joke. I still love that because while some people say that at the end he kills Joker, I don't think that's the point. At the end of Killing Joke, for me, the punchline is that we finally see that Batman and Joker are equally insane. That's the takeaway for me from Killing Joke. Whether he kills the Joker or not is immaterial to me. It doesn't matter. What does matter is that we finally revealed that they are both equally imbalanced. And that is the horror of being Batman. But so long as Batman has that godlike narrative power behind him, he is Batman, he can't die, he can defeat anyone given enough time and effort, then you can't kill Batman. And that makes Batman really boring. It's like coming up with really interesting Superman comics. He's a god. And you can beat the Kryptonian drum only so many times before everyone's like, yeah, kryptonite. Yep. Mm-hmm. Seen that before. Got anything new? I mean, yes, he's susceptible to some mind control bits, and magic is one of his major issues, and there is a fair amount of magic in the DC universe. The DC universe tends to be far more magical than is the Marvel universe. Um, Not quite as magical as, say, Hellboy, but still much more magical than is the Marvel universe. But he's still godlike. And there is absolutely no way, for example, that Batman would ever beat him. Not even, no matter, even with a nuclear device. I don't buy the whole Dark Knight. It's a great story, and I love the scene of him standing over Superman with his foot on his face to make that point. Oh yeah, spoilers. But I just don't think it would happen. Superman could still defeat him, and he wouldn't even have to kill him. He could humiliate him. He could wound him to the point where he could not move, and then just stand there, look at him, and walk away, or float off into the ether, because he can do that. Though I will admit that some of the powers that he was given during the Christopher Reeve films were very, very silly. Then again, some of the things that happened to Superman during the 70s are something that we should all try to forget. But Batman has the power of the narrative. Because of that, he can't really die. Like I said, that makes him boring. It's hard to have godlike people and have the storylines be really interesting. It's not impossible, but it's harder. It's easier to have stories that are on a little more human level. People on the X-Men, at least not Jean Grey, the X-Men level. Though I've heard recently that Iceman is supposed to have gotten very powerful somehow. I'm not quite sure how that happened, but apparently he has. But Wolverine, Spider-Man, Power Man, Iron Fist to a certain extent. So the whole white man gains the powers of another culture kind of thing. That's a little problematic in my book. A little more cultural appropriation. Look at it's the white ninja. But those levels of power are a little more interesting because they have foibles. They bleed in a way that Superman and Batman never will. Even though, of course, Batman does bleed, but he bounces back. And he comes back again and again and again. Always with a new plan. Always ready for everything. And I find it kind of dull now. As much as I love the character of Batman, the idea of Batman, actually in the comics and such, I find him really boring.